If you want to, you can use a hair tie or a rubber band to secure the item you're mending around your darning egg or makeshift darning egg, like in this case, or you can just tuck the ends inside if you're using a cup. In order to start mending, you'll want to take some stitches outside of the area where the hole is in your sock or sweater or whatever it is you're mending. Here I'm just using a scrap of hemp fabric so I can give you a good idea of what it looks like. As I start the next row, you'll notice I'm offsetting the stitches so that I stitch where there was once a space and I leave a space where there was once a stitch, just like if you are laying bricks. That way you'll have better coverage and it will be easier to weave at the end. Pull the thread tight, but not too tight. In order to create a nice patch, you'll want to make sure that the rows are relatively close together, but not right on top of each other. As you can see in this photo, there's a little daylight in between the thread rows. As I'm demonstrating here, once you get to the area that doesn't have fabric, you'll simply skip over it, leaving the amount of thread behind that there would be if there were fabric. So we don't want to pull it too tightly because we don't want to close it. If it were simply a slit and not a hole, we would stitch it to each other and close the slit. But since we have to make up for fabric that is missing, we're going to weave a new patch. We're simply moving back and forth, turning and turning and turning until we get to the hole, which will be the next time through. As you can see, I've stitched well beyond the original hole, and I'm leaving a long thread tail so I can weave it back in. Weaving the threads through the back is much simpler and requires far less precision than weaving them over the hole. You'll simply choose some thread bars to weave through in the back so that it doesn't come undone. As you wear this item, especially if you're patching a sock, you will wind up felting the threads back together. Even though I'm using embroidery floss here, the pressure from wearing the garment will cause it to form a much more cushiony patch, and these threads will begin to meld together. Once you have threaded in your first thread, you can simply use these long tails to thread a needle and weave them all in the same way. One last tip, if you cut some of your thread tails a little shorter than you'd like, you can use the eye end of the needle to weave your thread tail back through and then simply trim once you've woven as much as you can. And here's the finished product. Front side, the back side with the tails woven in. And here's the one we just did together. And the back with the tails woven in. I think you can do this.